I'm John Marine, and you're watching John Marine Tube. Celebrating over 200 plus subscribers to my YouTube channel. Friend, subscribe, comment, rate, but don't hate. You may wonder why I'm in this position here. And the reason is because I'm holding on to something which represents something you may not know about me. Did you know that in addition to being a fan of racing games and being a motorsports fan, a sports fan, a college sports fan, and even follow fashion a little bit, did you know I make my own keyboard music? I don't share my keyboard music much, but there is a keyboard that I'm using right now, which basically has been the keyboard that I've loved for over 5 or so years. But you know, when it comes to making music, I've always seemed to have a great fondness for MIDI music. I'm not afraid to admit that. I have a whole bunch of MIDI files on my computer. Some even from the very first computer I've ever had. I mean, I do listen to MP3s, but I also listen to MIDI as well. I'm the kind of person who just like anything that sounds cool, basically. I mean, I used to listen to a lot of stuff that's melodic, that, sounds very nice. Even when you have these wavetable synthesizers like Windgroove and Jet Audio and such, there's just nothing like MIDI music. Recently, I've started using my keyboard here to use for tracker music, which was recently. I haven't made anything yet though, but I am coming to grips with using a keyboard to make tracker music. And the kind of brand that I've had for my keyboards has been Casio, or Casio. And the one that I'm holding here is basically the third Casio keyboard I've ever had. The first one I ever had was the Casio Rapman, or the Casio RAP1. This was back in the early 90s. It was dubbed as the world's first rap keyboard. And it was about a 32 key keyboard. It had its own little microphone, and also it had 3 different pads for you to use drum beats with. It also had a circular disc which you could use to make record scratching effects. Like I know it's a bad impression, but I wasn't trying that. Then I had a keyboard called the Casio CTK-671. Unlike the 32 key Casio Rapman, the CTK-671 featured 61 keys, and it had a good variety of different rhythms to use, and some great sounding instruments. And I got that keyboard back in the mid '90s when my mom got it for me. And for a while, I've loved this stuff. But one thing I didn't really love was that it didn't have MIDI capabilities. And so it wasn't until I got an old E-Machines computer in the late 90s and early 2000s, which has a little port for MIDI capabilities. And I wouldn't get a MIDI-capable keyboard until about 2002 or 2003 for Christmas. And I thank my brother for this. Now I show you the keyboard I use now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Casio CTK-671. The key feature about this keyboard is that if you download a program, and if you download a bunch of different things to help add to your playing experience, you have the opportunity of downloading, kind of uploading from your computer to the CTK-671 different rhythms, sounds, instruments, and thereforth. It's the one that I love to use, and it's the first ever keyboard I've had that has MIDI capabilities. You can see the MIDI ports here. Now, as much as I love Casio, if I wanted to try a different brand, I want to try Yamaha. Especially Yamaha keyboards that have XG MIDI capabilities. Now, what's the difference between XG and, a general MIDI kind of thing? Well, Yamaha XG features some of the most impressive sounding instruments you'll find on any keyboard or any musical device. Yamaha even has their own different schools and such, giving you lessons on how to use the Yamaha keyboards. I don't know what my first experience with XG was, but I realized that I had a program that kind of emulated XG MIDI sounds. The difference between using a regular MIDI keyboard and then using XG sound samples is impressive. And also with a keyboard like this, or with XG capabilities, a general MIDI keyboard has about maybe 128 or so different instruments, maybe 200 something instruments. There are many more sounds you can use for XG, and all of them sound impressive. That's why if I ever want to get another keyboard, I want to try to get a good keyboard that has XG MIDI capabilities. And I think it'll really make my music shine all the further. Either that, or I just want to have maybe some software that kind of emulate some, retail software that has XG MIDI sounds, which I could use as a wavetable. But now you know a little more about me. I love MIDI music, and I make my own keyboard music. My name is John Marine. Please take care and have an amazing day. Friend, subscribe, comment, rate, but don't hate. Have love and have peace. And to all you people who love making keyboard music, I send a special shout out to you. Take care, everyone.